PTE Academic is an academic English test. What does this mean? And especially, what does this mean for your writing score? In this video, you're going to learn 7 ways to improve your academic writing and boost your score. So there are 7 things that you need to keep in mind while writing your essay. And to make sure that you fully understand and don't forget these 7 things, you can download the PDF from the description below and make sure you use it while you practice. Okay, let's take a look at those 7 points. Then we're going to deep dive into each of them one by one. Number 1, use no more than 1 or 2 personal pronouns. Number 2, use a range of active and passive sentences. Number 3, use modal verbs, could, would, might, etc. Number 4, use more formal, more precise words. Number 5, use the noun form instead of the verb form. Number 6, avoid contractions. Number 7, use adverbs to hedge your ideas. So that's the big picture of what we're going to look at in this lesson. Now let's take a closer look at number 1. Number 1, use no more than 1 or 2 personal pronouns. So personal pronouns are words like I, me, my, or mine, and we tend to avoid these types of words in academic writing. We usually use them, if we do, when giving our opinions, such as I believe, or I think, or in my opinion. You can also use these personal pronouns when giving your thesis statement in the introduction. For example, in this essay, I will explain why ... So the answer to the question, can I use personal pronouns in my essay in PTE Academic? The answer is yes, but only do it once or twice max. You don't want to talk about yourself too much because you're writing an academic essay. Number 2, use a range of active and passive sentences. So a lot of people say that in academic writing, you should just write passive sentences, and others say that passive sentences are too lifeless and you need to use active sentences to bring your writing back to life. Let's take a closer look at an active and a passive sentence. Active sentence. Governments should prohibit smoking in all outdoor areas. Passive sentence. Smoking should be prohibited in all outdoor areas. So the only difference between these 2 sentences is that the first one used the subject governments, that's the active sentence, while the passive sentence sort of hides the subject governments and it's not mentioned at all. So the answer to the question, should I use active or passive, is use both. Sometimes you need to write a passive sentence and sometimes you need to write an active sentence. That's the answer. Number 3, use modal verbs. So we use modal verbs in academic writing like might or could or would to do a thing called hedging. And what hedging is it expresses uncertainty. We don't want to be too certain about something in an academic essay. So we use these little words to express our uncertainty. Take a look at these 2 sentences. Banning smoking in outdoor areas deters people from smoking altogether. Compare that with banning smoking in outdoor areas might deter people from smoking altogether. So the use of the modal verb in the second sentence there, the word might, kind of expresses a little bit of uncertainty. And this is what you should be doing in academic writing and in your PTE academic essay. Number 4, use more precise, more formal words where possible. It's important in your essay to use less common, more formal words where possible. Don't just write your essay full of fancy words because they sound complicated. You don't want to do that. It is all about clarity, but sometimes putting the right word at the right time will improve your score. Take a look at these 2 words. Restrict. cut back. So if you have a choice in your mind between a word like restrict or a phrasal verb like cut back, they effectively mean the same thing, but you should choose the more formal, less common one, which is restrict. In other words, try to avoid phrasal verbs where possible. Number 5, use the noun form instead of the verb form. So what I'm talking about here technically is called nominalization. And that's when you change a verb into a noun using an affix. And if you have no idea what I'm talking about, take a look at this. Demonstrate is a verb, and we can change it into a noun by putting the affix ion, demonstration. Develop is a verb, and we can change it into a noun by adding the affix ment, development. Waste can become wastage, deny could become denial, and bribe could become bribery. In academic writing, we tend to use the nominalized form, that is the noun form, rather than the verb form. Let's take a look at a few example sentences with the word prohibit. The prohibition of cigarettes would lead to a much healthier society. That's a noun form. Compare that to if the government prohibited cigarettes, it would lead to a much healthier society. That's the verb form. So in academic writing, you would tend to choose the first one, the noun form. Number 6, avoid contractions. This one is pretty straightforward. So when you're looking at two words that could become one word through a contraction, simply don't do it. Take a look at these examples. Instead of writing it'd, it', write it would. Instead of writing shouldn't, write should not, etc. In other words, expand out those contractions in your PTE academic essay. Number 7, use adverbs to hedge your ideas. So we talked before about using modal verbs like might to express uncertainty, which is a good thing to do in academic writing. And you can also do this by using specific adverbs. Let's take a look at this list, which will help you to hedge your writing. Probably, possibly, seemingly, apparently, arguably, perhaps, maybe, presumably, and conceivably. Cool, so you can use those 9 adverbs to make your writing sound more academic and a little less certain. Okay, cool. Let's put it all together now and take a look at a paragraph where I've implemented most of these concepts. So let's take a look at this paragraph here. It's a body paragraph from an essay about banning smoking to stop young people from beginning smoking. First sentence, a prohibition on cigarette smoking in public places may help to deter young people from starting smoking in the first place. So firstly, in that first sentence, I have turned a verb into a noun. I said prohibition instead of prohibit, but I did say deter as a verb instead of deterrent. So you do have to mix it up a little bit. Sentence number 2, if smoking were banned outside and if fines were given, young people would not smoke at all. So here you'll notice that this is a passive sentence. If fines were given. By who? I've hidden the subject. And also I've avoided using a contraction there. I've said would not instead of wouldn't with an apostrophe. Sentence 3 and 4. In countries where smoking is more freely allowed, such as Indonesia, many young people begin smoking at a young age and continue to smoke throughout their lives. An outright governmental ban would probably eliminate this problem. So here I've used some less common, more formal words, like I've used the adjective form of government, governmental ban, and also I've used another modal verb, would, as well as an adverb, probably, again, to hedge my language. This is good academic English. Cool, and that is that. Don't forget to download the PDF from the description below so you don't forget all these rules of academic English writing. And if you need some feedback on your writing from an expert teacher to help boost your scores, then check out e2language.com. Thanks, my name is Jay. See you soon.